In the previous lesson, we worked with nodes to create a reticular structure in Grasshopper, and we used generic shape at the beginning, and then from that we extracted the horizontal planes and also like a generic structure on the facade to create panels and framing, and then we baked everything into the different layers here in Rhinoceros. So we're going to talk more about structures in this video and how to create them. We saw one technique, which is based on a box and also on a shape that we can repeat and like substitute that box with whatever shape we want. And so we went again from the basic shape, and then we deform by using the twist, and then we used also twisted box to place boxes all around the surface. And then also this is a slider that can help me to increase and decrease the number of frame elements of the framing system of the structure. So that's again a power of parametric design, procedural design, to be able to go back and change anytime, and everything will come along with that. It's going to modify. And this also works better with the angle here because I had like rounded corners. Run in the corner, the shape was too stretched. Instead, if I increase the subdivisions, it gets, well, it fits a little bit better. But anyway, this is one way we can generate a more detailed component, like a structure, from a more generic surface. And you can see here it took a little bit of time, but then it generated this really complex wireframe, we can say, or you see the little panel repeated over and over again. Now there are other ways we can generate different types of structure, and we can use the points, we can use the curves, we can use surfaces, and we can use meshes, we can use sub-D. So depending on what we use, we have like different paths. And I'm gonna try to do some examples as usual. So I'm gonna start a new file, and let's say I want to create a truss. And instead of you doing like a simple linear truss, I want to do something like curvy. And I don't want to use the splines. I want to use this new poly arc, which we didn't discover yet. And I'm going to set multiple points in here. So I'm working with centimeters. So each one of these square is 1 centimeter. So I'm going to go like for, like something like 40 centimeters or like 1 meter or maybe 2 meters. So something, big enough to be a truss. But I don't care right now about precise measurements. I just want to show you how we can get a truss from like a pot that we can start with. So I'm going to do a truss that is going to be something, not linear. So it's going to be something like this, like an S. Okay, right click to close. And I cannot see anything here because first of all, well, I need to choose if it's going to be closed or open, and I want to use an open curve. So, and the tangent, I need the tangent here. So it's an empty right now. So I need to put some value in there. The closed value is fine. I want to keep it false, so it's not closed. And then in the tangent, we need to have a vector as is suggested. And there you go. So I'm going to plug this in, right click, set one vector, and just point this, in a direction. So there you go. It created a series of curves, but these are not like free curves. These are like curves based on circles. Now, if I put more than one vector, if I do set multiple vectors, you will see I will get multiple curves. But we don't want that. So we want a single value. As usual, we can choose if we want to work with single values, list of values, or branches of values. So this is my line. Whatever shape it has, could be closed, open, whatever, it can be divided. When I divide, you can see I can divide a surface, I can divide a domain, I can divide many different things, but when I divide a curve, I'm gonna get points. And again, that's one way you can generate the structure from the points. And also you have like divide length, so you can create segments with the length value, or you can choose a distance. So you have many ways this will create points, but divide points is fine because it's gonna give like an equal distance between those. So I'm gonna choose divide and with points, and here I can choose how many points do I want. And I can change this anytime. Now, if I put 20, you can see they are distributed now equally spaced into that polyarc curve. And if I turn that off in the visibility, I can just see the points that I created. Now, if I want to create like a truss, like a reticular truss or reticular structure, I will need to create kind of a wireframe, or points connecting with each other. So I will use the Cull here. Well, you can see also here you have Cull faces, Cull vertices. So it depends on what you want to call. If you have like a mesh or a surface, in this case we want Cull pattern, because this is going to be like a generic list of values that we're going to call. And you can see already the results, because right now it's using like a false false true true boolean, and we need to fix that. So what do we mean? It means that we want to alternate like true and false. It's only one time. So I need to go inside and fix that sequence. Okay, so now they alternate, and let's say this is going to be like, I want to push one of these two up. So one is going to be the bottom part of the truss, the other one is going to be the top. And so I'm going to copy and paste, and just like we did previously, I can right click and insert an expression rather than a node, and I'm going to use invert. We cannot use reverse, because reverse will change the direction basically of the line of the spline, or the polyline or polycurve. So we just want to inverse, and you can see now we have kind of split the list into two. And so we have one here that it's already moved on the top. So if I use the move, it's already moved of 10 centimeters up, but I want to move it a little bit more. So I'm going to right click, and I'm going to set one vector in the input of the motion. I'm going to say, well, let's do it precisely this time. I'm going to type up here in the command bar, I'm going to type 20 or 30, and 20 is fine. And this is going to be precisely moved 20 units up, which for me now is 20 centimeters. Now we are creating a truss, but you can use the same method to create like jewelry or product design or whatever. It's just, understanding that from a series of points, we can like weave them together, we can connect them and create different structures. So if I create a line here, and with this type of line, I need an end point and a start point. So if I use the first list as a start point and the other list as an end point, well, let's first use this. You can see what happens. It's connecting only those at the bottom. If I use the other, you can see how they are connecting. So I can also use a shift if I want to fix the alignment, but right now it's fine that they are oblique. And I want to create a copy of this, and I want to reverse the start point and the end point, so I get exactly the same thing, but like in the opposite direction. So it's like a zigzag shape going through all those points that I have indicated. And there you go. So I'm using now only those to create that. Now, to create the